Hello, everyone. It's Roktan. Welcome, finally, after a long absence, back to the Red Last District. I apologize for that. Um, so, I've been working, and also, there's another thing is, I decided, a couple other things happened. One is my headset suddenly, without warning, it's in perfect. It looked like it was in perfectly good condition. Suddenly stopped working. No, no explanation. Basically, the mic stopped working. The headphones still worked. Surprisingly enough, at least if I was using the PS5, for some reason they didn't work. They didn't work. I couldn't get any sound out of them when I tried playing games on the Xbox. No game sound would come through, but with the PS5 they would. But just suddenly, without warning, mic stops working, and I looked at the headset like there's no visible damage to this, none. It just stopped working for no reason that I can fathom. It makes no sense why it would suddenly stop working. Like, you would assume like something like that. It would just stop. It would stop working because, oh, I broke it somehow. There was some kind of snap or a cord is damaged, something like that. No, nothing at all. In addition to that, since I had to wait to get a new one. And that was the other thing. I was like, I thought maybe it was just the Xbox that it didn't work with. So I checked the PS5, same problem. And I was doing a couple of different Twitch test streams and I was like, okay, it's official. The headset is broken. As far as the mic. In addition to that, I did have a new headset for a while, but I decided, you know what? I need to work on some games that I've been working on for a while and just wanted to get done, like Diablo 3, for instance. Even though I had already finished it on PS3, I've talked about this before. I bought it for the Xbox so I could play it with my friend. And yeah, it was a case of, well, now that I have it, I might as well get as much out of it as I can. So I went for as much of the achievements as I could. There was a couple I couldn't grab, disappointingly. There was one that I thought I would get at least closer to this time, which was getting 500 bounties. Which, no, it's just so tedious. Why does it have to be 500? It's way too much. And another achievement I got. There was one achievement I got, but the achievement never popped. That's been happening quite a bit recently, where achievements that I know I legitimately got, the Xbox isn't popping. Like, the notification never pop. Not only does the notification never pop, and is not even the when I go to the achievement list, it's not, it's you know, when now it has this thing where, you know, it tracks the achievements you didn't get. It was in that list, and I was like, and the thing is, Diablo 3 tracks tracks a lot of different things. It has its own set of achievements in addition to the ones that you can get gamer score for, and that's one of. And this particular achievement was one of them. Was one where you could track it in game in both, you know, and it said I had it in the achievement list in game, but it just didn't pop. And when I was trying to stream Assassin's Creed 2, which is one around the time when my headset died, the I had to go through the game twice because it screwed me out of story progression achievements. And the problem with Assassin's Creed 2, and this is on the Ezio collection, is it it Assassin's Creed 2, the older ones, like if it doesn't pop, there's no way to replay a memory. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, at least I know it does, and I'm assuming the sequels afterwards allow you to do the same. So at least if you get screwed on story progression or something like that, you can replay. Anyway, I started playing this because I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to stream it, and initially I was thinking about it, when I was like, this game, from just what the little I had played of it looked like a game where this is going to be way more frustrating than the Doom 2016 was going to be. So I was like, I don't know if I want to stream this, but I decided I'm going to, and for one major reason, and that's because I wanted to talk about some of the changes made between this and the original game. Now, one aspect here that's actually pretty kind of cool is you have your own little base. Now, I forget exactly how this Doom Marine came across this, but yeah, you have one, and it's a big base with a whole bunch of rooms. And now these rooms are locked though by you have to get crystals, I think, or no, wait, batteries. You have to get batteries. There's some things that are, yeah, every room that's locked is you have to open with by gaining batteries by doing missions. But the biggest thing I want to talk about is how they made this game more difficult than the Doom of 2016. I'm assuming, and now I know I'm not playing because I want to really talk about this before I get into it, and I just want to make sure that the sound of the game doesn't, like, essentially drown me out. So, anyways, so the problem is that it's like, as I've heard somewhere someone say that I heard a rumor, at least, that a lot of people complained or said that Doom 2016 was too easy, and that the developers took that in and decided, we're going to make this harder. Okay, problem here is how they did that. Okay, they made the enemies a little more aggressive, okay, but also more maneuverable at the same time. You could have just made them a little more aggressive, but now they're even more maneuverable than they originally were. Also, this is a weird complaint coming from me. This is going to sound a weird complaint, but the pacing is off in terms of difficulty. And what I mean by that is there are certain Doom monsters that appear way sooner than they should, or at least sooner than they originally did in the earlier Doom games, if that makes sense. Like, one of the first enemies you come across is the Arachnotron. Now, I understand why they did, I get kind of why they did this, because they're introducing the aspect of this thing now. They're introducing this new thing where certain weapons and certain things you're doing, like specific weapons, like monsters have like a weakness that you can exploit with certain weapons, and they're trying to make the game a bit more strategical in that fashion. I already have a problem with this because Doom was never meant to be like that. And I've never heard of a first-person shooter outside of like a hero shooter where one weapon counters another weapon, and even that is like debatable in terms of a hero. I don't really think it's more like character counters another character or hero, not necessarily weapon counters another weapon. Anyways, or weapon counters an enemy in this case. Another thing is that what else? They reduced the amount of ammo you have for each weapon to start with by a lot. Just enormous amount. It's nuts how huge the difference is. It's just insane, like the reduction. Okay, you want to make the less weapons a little bit less spammable. Okay, fine, but they just went overboard in terms of how much the ammo was reduction. Like, and the best weapon in the last game, the super shotgun. Holy shit, did they nerf that? Like, you have so little shots, it feels pointless to have it to use it at all because you're just gonna run out of ammo so fast of it. And so far, I haven't come across an enemy that really seems that weak to it. Like it feels like it counters another enemy. At least I haven't seen like every. What's nice is that it like every lore entry for each demon will tell you what the demons are weak to, but so far the super shotgun, nothing. There's no definitive weakness. It doesn't seem to have like a use for any specific demon so far. So I don't know what the purpose of it is. And then there's the whole then it adds this thing where it adds like a meathook thing where you can use the super shotgun to pull yourself closer to this enemy, or to an enemy. Sounds cool, but in this particular game, you do not want to be close to your enemies at all. You want to stay a good, at least, I don't know, 12 inches behind them, or 15 inches behind them. You want to have some distance to them, but because if they're close, they're just gonna rip you to shreds really fucking fast. So why would you ever want to get close to them? I know that the super shotgun is like a shotgun is like a close range weapon, but it feels like a weapon that doesn't belong in this game anymore. Like a shotgun doesn't feel like it just doesn't feel like it's belong, because why would you ever want to get close to anything? Because they're just gonna just destroy you. Another thing that is they added this new thing. They added a dash, and a double jump. Sounds cool. Here's the problem. Like I said, they've made the enemies more maneuverable, and they've added this thing where now they've added these like monkey bars, which you can fling yourself around on, and boost, and like jump pads. Problem with this is I have never been good at like instantly turning around and shooting things in midair. Like, the most I'm can do is maybe with like a rocket, like the old school Quake or like Unreal Tournament, is like if I'm a good distance away, I can like jump around a bit to avoid rocket shots if someone's aiming at my feet, because that's a common thing in those games, because obviously splash damage. And jump maybe a little bit, like that. Maybe do a little hopping, but generally I don't jump that much when I'm playing even when multiplayer. I just never got good at that, really. At least maybe I did, but I've just never been a hopper, if that makes any. And another thing is, like, when I'm jumping, I can't quickly target my opponents, at least, and definitely even less so on a console controller. If it's like keyboard or mouse, I'm a little bit better, but still not that great. So the whole monkey bar and boost pads, and like I barely even use them, even though they're there. Like, the only use I don't even use the monkey bars at all. I use the boost pad, like the jump pads, to get away. And often I'm forgetting to use the boost, and I should be using the boost to get away. Now that I think about it, but I forget it's there, and it's just like, and the other use of the double jump and the dash, actually, if I said boost, I'm thinking of the boost pads or whatever, the jump pads, is for these platforming segments they've introduced, where you have to, like, and a lot of that is for finding secrets, but sometimes it's actually for just getting through. And people like go, oh, that makes it fun. It's kind of fun, and then it's like, I'm sorry, Doom has never been a platformer, and first-person shooters and platformers do not generally go together unless they're designed from the ground up to do that, and Doom has never been that. So, I mean, I guess it's sort of designed to do it, but it's like, it doesn't belong in Doom. It's never been there. Why add it? And the whole monkey bar, I know Doom is kind of a ridiculous series, but like, and you would go and you would think, oh, you're complaining this is out of place when you can find ammo for everything, even in demon infested layers. Yes, I am. Monkey bars just look so out of place in Doom. Why would demons put monkey bars everywhere for you to use? And another thing about Doom Eternal that I have to complain about is it started with Doom 2016. Honestly, where you would enter a room and then your demons would spawn and you have to fight them. Like the demon, you usually didn't enter a room with demons already there. Sometimes you would, but most of the time, you enter a room and then the demons would spawn, and you would clear out an area. That's essentially what this is. You enter an area, some demons might be already there, but mostly demons will. But you'll enter an area. Either demons won't be there, or some demons will be there to start with, but then more demons will spawn. Essentially, you have combat arenas, and I remember someone like doing a counter argument to another guy's review, basically saying, like, he was complaining that this game was an arena shoot, like complaining how everything was like arenas and everything comes in waves, which yes they do. And I'm like, and the guy's kind of was like, well, what did you expect? It's an arena shooter. My response: Doom has never been an arena shooter until Doom 2016. That's where it started. Again, you know how original Doom 1 and 2 worked? You enter an area, the demons are already there. There's no arena, there's just an area with, and depending on the difficulty, especially if you're playing on your standard difficulty, which is hurt me plenty, that's generally I think what they want you to play at. There'd be a shit ton of demons in a room, and you would have to you would enter an area, the demons would already be there, and there was no arena. They would just be down a hall or in an or big or a ton of demons would be in a room. They just be there, and you clear the demons out. That's how it went. And the only time more demons spawn, and occasionally, yes, demons would more spawn, but they wouldn't come necessarily in a wave. Sometimes they would, but that wasn't the general idea. And the other thing about Doom 1 and 2, and that is you could leave an area if you're like going, you know what? I'm sick of all these demons in this room. I'm gonna back out. Or you could find, or the area we went in, you could find cover. Even in the old two Dooms which weren't really 3D if you think about it, because you couldn't jump. Couldn't really maneuver that well. You still could find a spot where you could stand behind like a wall or something, and take cover, and wait for demons to come to you if you wanted to. Or you could go back to you realize, oh shoot, I'm taking too much damage. Run back to another area that you had health that you didn't pick up, health or armor that you didn't pick up, and go grab it. You can't do that in Doom. You sort of could do that in Doom 1 a little bit occasionally, but a lot of times you were locked into an area. Doom Eternal, you're pretty much, once you get into an arena, you're pretty much locked in and you can't leave it. At least I think that's the way it is, but it's just kind of the design of it. Like, you generally don't have a way to like leave an arena you're in and go back and grab stuff. So it's just like all these things. The game just literally stacks the deck against you. And I'm playing on the easiest difficulty, just like I was in 2016. Not just because I'm that kind of guy where I have so much games that I want to beat them quickly. It's also that I feel like I have to. In this case, I have no other choice to start it, because like the game is so hard to start with because of all these things they've added to stack the deck. And it's nuts. Oh, should I mention that just like before with grenades, this was so dumb what they did with grenades. I'm like, okay, grenades weren't in Doom 1 and 2. Fine. They added them in Doom 3. In Doom 3, you had ammo with them. In Doom in the Doom 2016 and here, they're on a timer. They're like on a cooldown. Why? It's just, that's so dumb. Especially when there's be so much more useful. Okay, granted, you have the combat shotgun, which in my opinion is way more useful than the super shotgun. Has it's one of its modifications is a grenade launcher. So at least you can use that. By the way, that's fucking weird combination to have a shotgun with a grenade launcher. Usually in first-person shooters, you see that with like a machine gun. By the way, the amount of weapon upgrades and upgrades in general is kind of nuts. And so far, by the way, though, the upgrades that it's given me, there's barely been any. My health has increased tiny bit at best, I think, if it has at all. Also, I don't think they really increased. There's been many ammo increases, if at all. So like, Jesus, if you're gonna give us some ammo upgrades, for God's sake, that's the one. Now, the thing they've introduced, the thing they've done, though, is they've tried to make this sort of combat loop where you use your weapons to fight the enemies, and then you find some low-level demon to chainsaw with, and the chainsaw is the best way you're going to get your ammo back, because ammo picks up are they give you barely any animal pickups in an area, so you're going to have to do this. It's it feels annoying rather than like this strategic thing you're doing. It feels just like this loop of combat instead of I'm not saying you can't have fun with this, and I do have fun. I'm sort of enjoying it, but but I'm also really frustrated with it at the same time. And here's the biggest example I'm gonna make. They knew they made this game hard because they introduced an extra live system that's never been in Doom. Yeah. Now, if you die, you're not instantly sent back to a save point. You have actually extra lives, so you respawn. They knew they made a ridiculously hard game. They gave you lives. Like, if you have to introduce a live system to a first-person shooter like this, tone it the fuck down. Jesus. But I'm actually gonna have to, unfortunately, end the stream here. That's kind of my little review of the game. And you'll see what the game is like once I start. I want to play the game, but I'm having this issue, and this happens every so often where I don't know what causes it, but sometimes when I'm playing, the screen will cut out. And then if I reset the console and like turn the TV off and on, it'll fix it. I don't know why that happens. As far as I know, there's no problem with the connection between the connector and my Switch thing that it's connected to, and then the TV. They're all connected. I don't know why it happens. And I think you've even had it happen in the PS5, but less so. It mostly seems to happen with the Xbox, but it's actually really frustrating. And I don't want to be in the middle of playing, and especially in be in the middle of combat and have it caught out. It's really that's just not good. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to end it here and start a new one. But that's the reason I had a reason I named the stream that is that yeah, the first Doom 2016 was just a better game because not just because it was easier or necessarily because it was just like well yeah I guess you can but it say that but it's like this is an overcorrection in terms of like you wanted to make a more challenging game fine but you went way too far in the other direction you overcompensated in terms of that and made the game ludicrously hard to the point that like unless you're ridiculously fucking good, you're gonna be playing on easy and nothing else. You're not gonna want to touch the other difficulties because it's the jump is so much between the first one and the second one. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here, and we're gonna start another one. So. This is Roktan signing off. Stick out.